I've listened very carefully to everything Vitalik has said on the topic, and I've read the EIPs. There's no, at least right now, I am not anywhere close to certain that native HEX staking will be able to move to a shard. Everything that Vitalik says about it is about prompting applications to move to shards, because the shards write to the main chain, and if it's immutable and can't move, then we may be now we're competing with all just the regular users. What's the gas price going to be when now, instead of competing with just a bunch of users, we're now competing with a bunch of shards that, as of now, like the framework is that there's going to be 64 to 256 shards, and every 20 seconds the shards update their system state to the main chain, or every 20 seconds or 2 minutes, I don't know, 22 something. I don't know the exact timing, but so all these shards is regularly going to be having to publish to the mainnet, and the mainnet is trying to keep people off the chain. And so they may they may make it even more expensive to use the chain. And if we
have another S-load incident coming up.
Yeah. So at this point, I'm not certain that, while sharding, maybe it, but that's the thing, is like the sharding helps the value, or helps reduce the cost based on what shard you're on, because the shards can have different parameters. They can be for different use cases. And some shards may have like different layers of trust or different risks involved. And so the sharding, while it can absorb demand from other sources, it's like, okay, now instead of competing with everyone, now we're competing with shards or other use cases that log to the mainnet, because shards is one use case of thing that could, like, or one version of like a layer 2 scaling solution that logs to that mainnet. And if HEX can't move, then, maybe we reach a point where, it's like, it becomes more expensive to end your stake. And so,
do you think we fork? You think Richard forks HEX to, and we get all airdropped in 5 years or so, or 10, whenever it comes out, to fix that? Or how do you fix that?
So one way would like a kind of a community fork, or like basically just like a migration where system state taken over to a shard, and then people carry on that shard, and then and it could just work. But then, like, the existing one will always exist, and perhaps the people that can afford to end their stake on that one are like the true oligarchs, because then it's like the whole game would just shift, and maybe like starting then the max length stake goes from 15 to 7 years, and people just stop staking long because it's just like too expensive, and maybe it's just the whole the whole game just shifts. And so
HEX will not be boring in the next decade. It will not be boring.
Yeah.